Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Health Talk. I am your host, Dr. Niru Prasad, with my background in pediatrics, emergency medicine, and urgent care, affiliated with Henry Ford Health System, St. Joe, Oakland, and Beaumont. The theme of our Health Talk today is integrative medicine. Joining us today as our guest speaker is Dr. Keshav Grover, and who has his own office practice that involves the integrative medicine field, like, and also like a wellness perspective. So he's going to explain our viewers about what this field of medicine is and how this helps all of us. Good morning, Keshav, and shut it down. Good morning, Keshav, and welcome to my show.
Good morning, Dr. Prasad. Thank you so much for having me. And
So before I start, can you just give introduction to our viewers?
Sure. So my practice is Grover Health and Wellness. We are an
Okay.
integrative and functional medicine practice conveniently located right here in Bloomfield Hills. We are proud to help people to solve issues with their chronic health problems, with even acute problems as well. And we focus on gut health, hormonal health, autoimmune disease, even neurocognitive problems as well that they may be experiencing, and even post-COVID issues as well too.
Right, yeah.
And so we help them to create a plan that is palatable for them, that is able to combine all of the facets that can be helpful for them from conventional medicine, from holistic therapies, and creating the best plan for them that makes sense.
So that's very good. We
Yeah.
all want this mind body fullness. Like this part of your medicine is very much now in demand. Lot of our people all over, they want something like this.
Def-
Holistic medicine, mindfulness. What made you come to that field?
So it's very interesting you asked that question. So
Yeah.
I'm conventionally trained. I did my I went to medical school. I did a master's prior to that, and then I even did a few years of training in ear, nose, and throat and head and neck surgery
Oh,
and facial
okay.
plastic surgery as well. And then I felt that we weren't treating our patients in a way that actually was getting them to be better. I felt there was a lot of reactive care. It was a lot of putting a Band-Aid on a problem and not getting to the root cause overall.
Okay.
And growing up in a household where my father is a
Right,
physician,
right.
and also who my mother is an avid home remedy believer,
Yeah.
and a believer in Ayurvedic thought processes.
Yeah.
And even my uncle, my mom's brother, growing up, he was very much into yoga, meditation,
Okay.
into more of taking a natural approach to our health with diet
Yeah.
and things like that. I even remember as a kid, he would always have a handful of nuts and dried fruit for us that,
Right.
if
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
in the car,
health,
he would,
health food.
yeah, he would want us to,
Organic health food. Yes.
exactly. He was
Okay.
into greens powders before anybody could think about that.
Okay.
So growing up, I kind of had the perspective of my father, who was a ER physician,
Right,
as well
yeah.
as an ambulatory pediatrician, and he was treating people with very acute and complicated issues that would come in the middle of the night to the ER.
Yeah.
And so I would hear about that, and then I would also see, my brother, who's an internal medicine physician, talk about the cases he was seeing as well in the hospital. And then with my mom, if we ever were sick, she would want us to drink a particular herbal tea or mix some turmeric with milk and have that if we were sick with some black
That's-
pepper, And so I kind of grew up in a very integrated
Medicine.
household, if you think about it,
Right,
where
yeah.
even though, and at some points there was even controversies about what works, what doesn't work, is there data for this or not. And so to answer your question, when I thought to myself, okay, I've tried conventional medicine, and that didn't kind of scratch the itch I had to help people.
Yeah.
It did in some ways, and I think there's a lot of benefits to conventional medicine.
Yeah.
Like if one of us right now were to be having a heart attack, please take us to the emergency room because that's where we should be to get help.
Right, right.
But with integrative medicine, just like how if you get a paper cut or something of that sort, your body knows what to do to heal it.
Right.
So we need to show the body how do we heal ourselves and put that plan together so the body can actually do all the work that it's supposed to do.
So, that is very interesting because, with my background, pediatrics, emergency medicine, and husband, orthopedic surgeon, and we were colleague with your dad, we worked at Children's Hospital together. And
Yeah.
so we always talked about this whole issue, about what we are going to do. And with my same thing with my working in emergency medicine and report and doing residency in pediatrics and all that, that's what gave me an inspiration to write my own book, because I see the children of course, you do adult also, but at that time I was just a pediatrics. So what I see those kids in the office and the same night working at the emergency room, somebody comes with a head injury and this and that. So that's what inspired me to author my own book. And I'm so happy that my book has been accepted by all over, International Book Award. And all the proceeds I'm going to donate UNICEF, because what do I need money at this stage of our life? What are we going to
Yeah.
do? So that's why I decided like a charity organization. So step by step, could you comment on you have given me a couple of subtopics. So could you comment on the mindfulness first?
Sure. If you think about it, everything really begins in the mind and occurs in the mind. Like right now, as we're having this conversation,
Yeah.
your image is reflecting. So the light in this room is reflecting off of your face and your body,
Yeah.
and that light is then reflecting through into my eyes,
Right.
into the back of my retina, creating an image in my mind. And so really, and then also your voice is echoing through the room, vibrating my tympanic membrane or my eardrum, and then creating that energy into an energy that my brain can recognize as sound. And so then basically everything that is occurring in this room is actually occurring in my mind overall.
Okay.
And so if you think about it, everything that occurs in our life is experienced in our mind. And so if we're more mindful, and this is where the definition of mindfulness comes into place,
Full mind.
where you're able to actually be more present in the moment, in the present moment, without any bias, where you're able to take an appraisal to say, okay, what is going on around me in a very objective way, almost like if you were to look at the forecast without a prejudice. See, if you were to look at a rainy day, you might say, oh, it's a crummy day. It's it feels very depressing, kind of a thought process. Or you could say, oh, it's a rainy day. This is actually good for the soil. And now you have a different perspective on the value of rain.
Right.
And so, or maybe you're just looking at it and saying, okay, it's raining. That's what's happening. So the perspective on how our current situation can change the tone of how our minds and bodies react to our world. And oftentimes we're looking for solutions outside of our body. And as I mentioned before, the very fact that we have the ability to heal a paper cut, that technology is inside of our body.
Right.
And so I think oftentimes we're very obsessed with the outside world as a society, and we don't spend enough time in the inside world.
Yeah.
And I think by being more mindful with techniques that we teach our patients, including yoga, meditation, mindfulness breathing, even mindfulness eating. Even if you think about an Ayurvedic background, when somebody's chewing their food, we're taught to chew their food, 20 to 30 times because of that number of teeth that we have in our mouth. So the mindfulness concept is a core principle of what we prescribe to our patients for their well-being overall.
So this is very good, like basically what it is brain controls our whole body. There are some areas, which are like we all know cerebral cortex, where some area in thalamus that has depression feelings and all that, but brain controls. So now the next question will be, how are we integrating those?
So when you
Yeah.
think about your lifestyle, for example, right now you're reviewing a few things on your phone. If you left your house without your phone, you probably would feel somewhat naked,
Right, yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so if you think about it,
Memory.
no, it's not about memory. It's
Memory.
about the feeling that you're used to something, where you
Okay.
walk out of the house with potentially your wallet, your
Right.
purse, or your phone, your keys. Maybe somebody wears glasses, they're remembering that, because those are all requirements for your life. We
Right.
don't think about brushing our teeth in the morning, right? There's so
Right.
many things that we do on a daily basis that are almost like robotic for us to do,
Yeah.
that in the same way, well-being can be just like that, where when we start to practice mindfulness with certain breath techniques, with certain abilities to appraise the situation, to abilities to have a different perspective on situations, then that becomes part of our daily practice, and we don't have to think about it as much.
Right.
It doesn't become a chore, it doesn't become a task for us to do. It's just part of our daily lives overall.
It's part of a daily life.
Yeah.
You build a structure inside.
Yeah,
What is your daily life going to be?
correct.
And then you follow. Then the brain sends a signal, right? Okay, this is what we are going to do. That's
Exactly.
very good.
Yeah, and it's almost like if you haven't done your mindfulness for the day,
Yeah.
maybe part of your mind is thinking, "Oh, something is missing," just like if you walked out of the house without your phone,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so those are concepts that we talk about in our practice with our patients to help them out the best way possible.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, now tell me, if somebody wants to go to your
Yeah.
office, then what do you do initially? You will have do you take care of the children, adults, senior citizens?
Sure. So we see all ages and all genders, and we see, if somebody is in the pediatric range, I do prefer that they have a pediatrician on board, just because there's certain things that pediatricians and even to be in our practice, we do require or highly recommend somebody have a primary care physician on
Right.
board.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things that they do really well that we don't do as well.
You don't do right.
And
even though you know how to do it because of your
Exactly.
practice
Yeah.
or your training before, still you want somebody.
Correct.
Yes.
And then the other part of it is that when somebody does come into our office, we first have a discovery call, which is usually about 15 to 30 minutes, and we have an opportunity to get to know them, and they have an opportunity to get to know us to see, are we the right fit to work
Right.
together
Yeah.
for their wellness goals and also their potentially health issues that they're going through currently.
Right.
So that's the first step. The second step is then once we've established that, okay, we can work together, they're scheduled to come in for a 60 to 90-minute consultation with myself. And at that time, we do a full appraisal of what's going on. We ask them several questions. We do a full physical examination. And then we sit down and we talk about what their goals are to say, okay, now we've looked at everything, let's create a plan. And then usually I take all of that information and then
From them.
and then I'm able to assimilate a plan that works for their lifestyle. And then we go from there. And then if I need to have and they generally also do meet with our dietitian and health coach as well too,
Yeah.
because food as medicine is a
I
very
know.
important concept.
I'm telling you, the plant-based nutrition has been mentioned so many times in the journals of AMA pediatrics about the importance, significance of plant-based medicine food. It has become entirely a new subspecialty. If I was younger, I would have taken that particular
Yeah.
acid. For me now, it is too much.
Yeah, yeah.
I just like to get opinion from you guys, our
Yeah.
next, because you are our next generation, and you will,
Thank you.
you
Yeah.
will guide us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so far as the now another like senior citizens, people who are from broken homes and all the living single, there's a lot of depression.
Mm-hmm.
I know in 90 minutes you will find those people who are depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you handle those? I know I have written a lot of articles about the depression.
Mm-hmm.
What you do, the depression, the blue light and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
But you tell me, oh, what is new? What are you doing
Mm-hmm.
besides whatever have been done for those people
Sure.
in your office?
And so I think when you talk about mental health and you talk about
Yeah.
depression, anxiety, a
Yeah.
lot of those issues stem from common root causes. So first, in our appraisal, we're seeing, was there past trauma in this person's life that has not
Right,
been dealt
yeah.
with? Do they find purpose in their current life? Do they have a reason to get up in the morning and to find purpose and satisfaction with achieving that purpose and then
Okay.
visiting that purpose again? So a lot of it is, again, that mindfulness component that's there. And then obviously, if patients are at a point where they're more in the need of a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist, we definitely will encourage them to and refer them to those partners of ours and work with them, to say, do they potentially need to have some medication on board? Do they need to see therapy more often? Do they need to go through specific kinds of therapy? Like, for example, EMDR is a great therapy for
Yeah,
trauma
right.
patients, or if they need cognitive behavior therapy, or do they need, or if somebody's having issues that are now somatic, do they need to see me for osteopathic issues, or do they need to see, like, let's say, a pelvic floor therapist? Many women suffer from pelvic floor issues that then cause them to have mental health problems as well.
Right, yeah.
And now we so a lot of times the root cause is missed
Yeah.
that we have to look at. And depression also is one of those things where it can be rooted in we're fueling our bodies with. So if somebody is not getting the right nutrients, if you think about how antidepressants work, for example,
Right.
the most common category is SSRI, which is selective.
Right. SSRI is
Yeah.
the one that has become so popular.
Yeah, they selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors.
Yes.
So in short, they basically increase and boost artificially the level of serotonin that's there between one nerve and another.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, then you are able to have more connectivity between the nerves that are there to help to make you feel better. But if you think about it, where does serotonin come from? Serotonin is coming from our gut, and our
Right.
gut needs to get the right nutrition. So we need the right amino acids, we need the right fats, we need the right molecules to be able to synthesize serotonin and take that into our brain as well. So if we're not eating the right foods,
Right,
or we
yeah.
have a gut issue, like let's say somebody has leaky gut, or somebody has small intestine bacterial overgrowth, or they have dysbiosis, which is a condition which many have, where you have
I have read about that dysbiotic. So basically, like before, we used to have this term during my active practice, fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
But now there's no more term fibromyalgia. They call it like a mind and a body syndrome. All the muscles aches and all over the body. And you are right. If you eat a heavy meal during the night time, your gut is not in your favor, and then morning becomes. So what it is basically watch your stomach area and what you eat and all those.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just to kind of clarify for our audience, when you talk about dysbiosis, that's basically a disarray or dysfunction in the diversity
Yeah.
of your microbiome, which is basically the collection of organisms that live in our gut, in our skin,
Microbiotes, yeah.
in our nose, on our eyes, in our private parts, all over our body. We have these organisms that are helping us to thrive.
Yeah.
And when you have a disarray or a dysfunction of them, then we can see disease happen. So,
Yeah.
for example, individuals who have, coming back to the plant-based concept, individuals who eat a lower amount of plant-based foods
Yeah,
aren't getting enough fiber in their
microbiomes.
diet. And we know that fiber is a fantastic fuel to create what we need to fuel our cells in the form of short chain fatty acids. And so when we have a lower fiber intake, we can get issues in terms of constipation, we can have inflammation occur, we can have leaky gut occur, and a whole other host of things. So by having the right prebiotic foods, the right probiotic foods
Yeah.
with fiber, we're able to create an environment that is just like any neighborhood you'd want to live in,
Yeah.
where it's more conducive to growth and thriving overall.
Do you recommend, like in the drugstore, they have all those probiotic powders and all? Do you recommend them for your
Some of our
patients?
some of our patients do require probiotics if
Okay.
they are low in certain colonies of bacteria. Okay.
Okay.
And so we may choose to do that, but that's where we would do the survey when they come in for their 60 to 90-minute
Right.
consultation.
Where is the leaking? Where is the.
Exactly, and then you generally may get a stool test as well, which gives us more information.
Yeah.
And we get to kind of look under the hood, no pun intended, in terms of what's going on with the person overall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is very interesting. You are linked with lot of other subspecialties like psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, and all those.
Oh yeah, we're highly.
Social workers, yeah. Social workers, they play a significant role. Yeah.
We're highly dependent upon the success of our patients with our partners in the community.
Right.
And, it takes a village, to borrow that term. And it's one of those things where we need to work together to create an integrative community,
Yeah.
right? And that's where community is also a part of our conversation with our patients. And I believe very strongly that if you look at what happened during the pandemic of COVID-19,
Right, yeah.
many people are isolated.
I
You-
know that
Yeah.
is the biggest cause, the COVID. Even though it has been 5 years now,
Yeah.
still we have that sequelae.
Oh,
We
yeah.
still have post-COVID depressions, so many things. It hasn't left us, right?
And I think what has also happened is that because of the isolation, that many people have gotten used to being isolated.
Right.
And
right,
now
yeah.
coming back to normal life, quote unquote, feels awkward because some individuals have forgotten how to interact, or
Right,
they
yeah.
may feel uncomfortable in larger situations where they would normally have been in
Yeah.
before. So I do strongly believe that if you were to look at one of the pillars of our practice,
Yeah.
or another pillar, is that, in addition to mindfulness, gut health,
Gut
food as
health.
medicine,
Yeah.
and also having a community as well,
Yeah.
that's very important in the healing process.
Yeah, community plays an important role, very important role, right?
Yeah, and movement as well.
Yeah.
That movement is also very important
Yeah.
in terms of finding certain activities that give you joy, and that are going to be healthy for you, and then also to help boost muscle strength as well, because we both know that muscle is the organ of longevity.
Right.
If somebody gets a hip fracture, their mortality rates increase quite a bit,
Yeah.
and so we don't want that happening to people overall.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, what it is, generalized body, you are integrated everything in one specific area, and then you are linked with all the other subspecialties, which makes your office practice more attractive, right?
And I think it's about meeting people where they are.
Right.
And figuring out how do we help them where they are, because everybody is not going to be up to do the same plan, and so we have to create a customized plan, almost like if you're at a buffet
Right,
and your plate
yeah.
is going to be individual compared to somebody else overall.
So that's good, we did a wonderful talk here with you. What would be your last minute keynote advice to our listeners for this show?
I would say that create creating goals is the first part. You have to have goals to
Right.
achieve them for your well-being.
Aim and motivation,
Aim is
right?
there, right? And then once you have that, now you've created a purpose. So every day when you wake up, you're working towards your purpose. And then figuring out, just like how I told you
Right.
before, that you don't walk out the house without your phone, and sometimes you might feel naked without it. Um, Create that sense of a lifestyle that
Right.
works for you, that has maybe one or two of these things in it that we've talked about, but
Right.
at least you're doing them more consistently. And figure out what works for you and try it out. Talk to other people in your family, your friend circle.
Right.
Because nowadays, well being is a very hot topic in even social
It
circles.
is even in social service everywhere, stay away from the from the drugs if you can. Of course, some condition you do need
Yeah.
the medicine, like depression, like we mentioned, SSRI. But basically, what I think, it is your desire, your passion, what you have, and then convert your passion to the motivation. And then this is what is making you happy, put other people happy. Stick to your motivations and don't go here and there, right?
Exactly. And again, it's keeping it simple. You know, I think that there's a lot of noise out there in the wellness world, but just
Yeah.
figuring out what are the few things that you're going to do every day, and then just rinse and repeat, because that's what's going to really
Yeah.
create the most well-being overall.
So that's good. I'm very happy to have you on my show. I like to thank our viewers for watching me, the health talk today. Integrative medicine field wellness perspective by our guest speaker, Dr. Keshav Grover. And I like to thank our producer, the camera people, for helping me produce this show. And I want to wish everybody a very happy late summer and coming spring, coming fall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.